If somebody has lived being controlled when they were young by parents or their school or the Macaulay education system, that's a most exploiting, controlling system. If somebody lives that kind of a life when they were young and they develop an idea of freedom or what it means to live life on your terms and conditions, when they grow up and they get their space, they will live as a free man, the slave's version of free man, follower's version of leader, not real leader. Understand? There's a big difference between living as a real rich man or poor man's version of rich man and living as a real leader or the follower's version of leader. Recently, me and my few of the Mahants were having discussion. One of my sannyasi went and met somebody and he was describing about that person's difficulties, problems and the problems which comes out of his lifestyle, attitudes. Then the discussion turned about why I am so orthodox in my life and personal lifestyle. An important truth which I myself discovered, I wanted to share with all of you. When I was brought up by Arunagiri Yogeshwara and my gurus, I never felt I am slave and I need to have a version of a freedom. I never felt I am a follower and I need to have a version of a leader. So whatever I was taught, it was with the context. So that became part of me. That is my version of a leader. Understand? That is why in our Sangha, when we become more and more rich, we are becoming more and more traditional. The more wealth comes, the more traditional we are becoming. The more wealth comes, we are aligning ourselves more to Bhaga Shastra, we are aligning ourselves more to Vastu Shastra. It is actually always other way in India, an Indian mental setup. Only if you are poor, you follow traditions. The moment you get little wealth, you freak out. No, that is the mental setup. Same way, only when you are a kid, you apply vibhuti, go to school, go to temple. The moment you grow up, you have your time and life in your control, you freak out, and no question of any of these traditions or any of this Shaivite lifestyle. You just go completely tangent against it. Understand? Poor man's version of richness is not richness. Slave's version of freedom is not freedom. Follower's version of leader is not leader. In the young age when you are growing, the context you are given, the understandings and cognitions enters into your depth. Listen to the right word. In my young age, I did not gather instructions from my gurus. I gathered cognitions from my gurus. When you gather instructions, you will be a follower. You will create your own version of leader. When you gather cognitions, you are a leader. And when you have freedom, you know what to do. every day I was introduced to new cognition. Understand? If I have the cognition that everything around me is as connected to me as these hands and legs are connected to me, then I can move anything around me just like that. How I am moving my hands and legs freely. If I am having the cognition, those things are also part of me, I can move them with the same freedom. So every day, only new cognitions were added to me. Not just new understandings or new skill sets. Understandings are in the length level, skill sets are in the breadth level, cognitions are in the depth level. I was added with the new cognitions. The moment we get empowered, whether by wealth or more powers or more energies, more freedom, more knowledge, more understanding, more equipments and modern gadgets, every way we are empowered, we are turning more and more authentic and integrated to the original tradition. Because I am leader's version of leader. Not follower's version of leader. Or slave's version of owner. Or poor man's version of rich man. Understand, Macaulay system does create poor man's version of rich man, follower's version of leader, and fool's version of intelligence. Gurukul creates rich man's version of rich man and leader's version of leaders, intelligence's version of intelligence. Everyone who lives around me knows all these throne, jewels, everything, only to officiate my responsibility. Once the responsibility is done, I'll be the first person to throw all these out and relax into my space. A poor man's version of rich man can never throw all this as professional code of lifestyle. He will be so attached to all this. All this will be so much part of his thinking. He will feel all these are his extension, himself. Understand? Be rich man, not poor man's version of rich man. Look into your life. In how many places you are poor man's version of rich man and follower's version of leader. If you are a follower and you had a version of leader and you get your freedom, first thing you will do is spend your whole time and money and energy how to be lazying around without contributing, how to sink yourself into laziness and only suck, never give. If you are a leader's version of leader, the moment you are empowered, you will only think, how can I go on be contributing and enriching? How can I go on be expanding my responsibilities and possibilities? How can I go on be adding? Leader's version of leader, rich man's version of rich man, intelligence version of intelligence. That is what is contribution of the Gurukul. I never gathered instructions from my gurus. I gathered cognitions from my gurus.